On Sri Lanka, yesterday, the Deputy Secretary General spoke at the Council on Foreign Relations, and he said, as to this report, which he said is finished, he said that he's advised that it not be released until part of it is implemented or, at least as I understood, he said until member states are comfortable with it. And he did say that the Secretary General spoke of it, and he was speaking about it. But I wanted to understand more fully. What does it mean for, I mean, how long, what's the benchmark? Could it be years until it's implemented? And does member states feeling comfortable, does this involve Sri Lanka giving the green light to its release? Why wouldn't this simply be released in the spirit of courage of speaking that he referred to? Thanks.
Well, first of all, in the spirit of courage of speaking, he actually, at that discussion, gave out quite a lot of the details of the report, as you will have noticed. So he has been speaking out on this, and we will have, I think, more to say in, I believe, the days and weeks to come. I don't think that this is a long wait, but there is a dialogue that's going on, and we will have something more to say about our follow-up to the work of the Internal Review Panel. But as you know, we put out the report of the Internal Review Panel. Michael Keating has proceeded to follow up with this, and we'll be able to say things about the follow-up work as they proceed. But the Deputy Secretary General yesterday in his discussion did discuss what the main priorities were about this particular effort and what things we seek to strengthen, including prevention, the protection of civilians, and the need for faster action. And those are the three priorities that we'll try to uphold.
Sri Lanka, this has been one of our most inspiring tasks the last 6-7 months, to work with this team, with these people. First, John Peters' report and Michael Keating's, and it was such a good experience also to notice that the sometimes turf mentality that occurs in a big organization wasn't evident. The different departments worked very determinedly in coming to good conclusions, and really very substantive conclusions from the Sri Lanka failure. And I think there are three areas where we will need to do better, and one, of course, is to enhance the culture of awareness of human rights all over, not only among those who deal with human rights, but in any country team, and all of us should have that human rights dimension. It is, after all, the third pillar of the United Nations. No peace without development, no development without peace, and none of the above without respect of human rights. I would add today rule of law also, by the way. So the human rights sector will hopefully be strengthened, and with the support, I hope, of member states, because we have to have the member states on board for this process. Then I'm very interested in prevention, practical aspects of prevention. I see really what I said here, that the human rights violations are the best sign of crisis coming. When you feel those vibrations in the ground, and the kids can't go to school because of their color or ethnic background or clan, whatever. And when the father is tortured, comes back, then that's where you said, this is going to be very bad. And I would hope also that the Security Council would remember that they should act on threats to international peace and security and get in there early. So I think if we have a stronger awareness, almost an automatic reaction when there are human rights violations, what steps do you take to prevent this from going into the disaster, which then costs us so much in terms of lives, money, reputation, and night's sleep. That's what we need to do. Second aspect, protection of civilians. I think there is a false artificial line between human rights concerns and protection of civilians. In fact, protection of civilians is necessary because we have failed to listen to the warning signals earlier on. But then, during that protection of civilian period, there are massive violations of human rights. So I would hope that the human rights and the humanitarian community would come together. If there are problems, I offer to mediate between them, because I've experienced both. And the last thing is the self-critical part. We need to act much faster. In Sri Lanka, we had an operation which was basically development. And here comes a huge crisis with massive human rights violations, conflict, war. And we didn't have the resources, the team, the persons in place to deal with that and report back, and for us to go to the Security Council and make the issues. So we need to act much faster. That's the third thing. When I gave the report to the Secretary, after I myself had worked on it a little bit, I suggested to him that we would not go public until we could prove that we are doing something about it. Because I think there are so many reports, you believe this report. So we now have a period of implementing this in the different parts of the UN, and also starting to have dialogue with member states. The Secretary mentioned it in his speech. You may have discovered it in the speech at the 24th of September. And I spoke about it today. This is part of the gradual launch of it. And then we will present it more formally a bit later when we feel that we have delivered and that we have growing support of member states and the system. So that's the plan.